So yes, I am Bayron. I am leading this company, iData. Now I'm based in Atlanta, so I'm leading the expansion of the company in the US after being working for a while in South America. So today we are going to talk about what is happening in the world of data. A lot of things are happening in the world of data now, and it's getting more speed, it's getting more deeply, it's getting more complex. It looks pretty simple now, but it's important to understand into the simplicity how to apply on this for the business. So I want to have this conversation today with you. It's not just a talk. I want to conversate with you, and if you have questions, comments, please feel free to shoot me. Okay, so the name of this presentation is Milestone for a data and AI strategy. I will focus, as this is a CTO event, I will talk a little bit more about technology, but I want to talk about some key points to deploy a strategy into the business. So if you are a CTO or if you are a C-level in a company, you will have some keys to deploy a right strategy and some variables to have in mind. Very short, iData was, when we created this company, iData, it was about 30 years ago. We started working with data. I was talking with the guys that when we start the company, we were doing this because we have the passion to create value from data. At that time, the cloud almost didn't exist, at least commercially. So we were working with predictive analytics. It was statistician models and econometrical models being deployed in the financial industry, mostly in the side of banking. So creating risk scoring solutions and others in on-premise computing. But then we went to the cloud. We became Microsoft partner in about 2014. When Microsoft was creating Microsoft Azure after Amazon launched AWS. So we went to the cloud, doing this in the cloud. So the power of processing data became unlimited. So you can start talking about big data, and now we are talking beyond data. So why we are working beyond data now? Because now you can have a lot of solutions technically to develop any kind of algorithm, any kind of project. So now it's getting more important to know how are you make the application of the technology. So is the understanding of the business. We have been working in this past 30 years in 11 countries with clients in 11 countries in almost all industries, including public sector, government, and with about 100 developers in data, based in South America mainly, and we are building now our team in the US as well. We have been awarded by Microsoft as Partner of the Year for 4 consecutive years in several categories for LATAM and the Caribbean. But we are partnering as well with AWS and GCP, and as well we are the second most important partner of Databricks for South America. A little bit of context about this presentation is that a bunch of large companies are using a lot of solutions in generative AI now. So something happened less than 1.5 years ago. And was that OpenAI launched Chat GPT 3.0, and then everybody is talking about generative AI. Now you have a lot of solutions. You can talk about Jasper, you can talk about Anthropic, you can talk about Copilot, you can talk, you name it. So now every day new applications using generative AI are being created. So we are living now a trend that is not going to stop. This trend is being accelerated. And people is kind of, I am an user of this technology, or I can manage this complexity. So in what side you are, and this is what this presentation means. So A little bit of story, of history. This is kind of the data usage evolution for companies. So about 2010, people were talking about analytics. Yeah, and some people have been working in data for about 15 years. So it's about these days. So at the beginning, the analytics were made on-premise, physical computers making dashboards, mainly understanding data about the present and the past, crossing variables and making analysis for the business. But after this, indeed, in 2012, the Harvard Business Review published that the data scientists were going to be the sexiest job for the 21st century. Why? Because the cloud came. The cloud came with commercial use with Google, Amazon, and Microsoft. And I can say that later, IBM. In 2014, cloud and big data exploded. So everybody started talking about big data. What is the importance of big data? The importance of big data is that we have unlimited capabilities and scalability to use data. So you are not limited by your computer or your servers in your office. You can rent any capability that you need. So you have unlimited scalability. But at this time, most of the projects in cloud were used by storage and some processing, but mostly in storage. So for 2015, we started working with advanced analytics because the cloud was performance for making some advanced analytics and predictive modeling. So with advanced analytics, machine learning was launched, like a technology that could make auto-calibration of the model with new data. So the new variables could be calibrated automatically without human intervention. So the models could learn by themselves. Before that, we were deploying models, and at the beginning, the model had like a good performance, but at some point, the clients call us, hey, Bayron, the model was doing good, but now, after 2 years, the results are not like a very precise. So why is that? Because the data is changing every time. But with machine learning, the models, the algorithms could learn, so the problem was solved. After that, about 2018 or 2017, the economists published that the data was the new oil. So why? Because a lot of companies were creating value from this. I can say that I'm not sure if it's the new oil, because the oil is a limited resource in the planet. And the data is unlimited. You are creating data every day. So I can say, or I think that that affirmation is not precise. It's like a more of oil. So for 2018, companies were thinking about, okay, I'm doing business intelligence, I'm building dashboards, I'm doing predictive modeling, but what else? I can realize that in the company, most of the data is not structured data. Structured data is data as we know as an Excel, with rows and, well, like a structure in vertical and horizontal axis. Most of the data is non-structured data, as images, video, audio, or text. You can think about it in your company. You have a lot of emails, you have a lot of documentation, you have recordings of meetings like this one. You have a lot of data that is non-structured data. So for this time, deep learning with neural networks were created to analyze this data and understand patterns and recognize new patterns on the data. So with deep learning, you can make decisions understanding the data or understanding the patterns with non-structured data. Then Gen AI was launched in where Gen AI were be working from about 2018. Google were pioneers working with some Gen AI, but in November of 2022, we launched Chat GPT 3.0. So the story behind that is that these guys were using the technology, but they were thinking, what is the best way for people to use it, to use this technology? So they think that now all the people are using, for virtual communication, are using the chat. So you are chatting all the day. You are chatting in WhatsApp, you are sending SMS, you are sending in the emails, but you are chatting all the time with most people. So they say, okay, let's put ChatGPT into a chat. Let's put generative AI into a chat. So they created ChatGPT. And it was a boom. You can remember, and it is still being a boom, that people were using ChatGPT and say, wow, this is amazing. So it became viral at that time. So I put this phrase that the change or the usage in the quantity of user is becoming exponentially with generative AI. And so that's why I put this, a technology become into innovation when it's democratized. And it became viral. So it became highly democratized. And now everybody is using it. Now, with this kind of technology, you can have a lot of answers. You have answers all the time. You have answers everywhere. So what I can say is that in a world full of answers, making the right questions is more important than getting the answer. Because now, if you make a question to the bot, you can have an answer. If you don't like the answer, you can question again. You can ask again, and you will have another answer. If you don't like it, you can ask again, and you will have another answer until you have the answer that you want to listen. So you can have a lot of answers now. So the problem now is not getting the answer. Indeed, it's not getting the solution. Now, when we talk with clients, we can say that your company is like a building. This is the building of Coca-Cola. So if you think your business as a building, you can think, okay, if I'm going to build a building, first I'm going to design the building. So I'm going to hire an architect, and the architect is going to ask me what kind of building I want to build. So could be a commercial building with offices, could be with apartments, could be whatever, a co-working, whatever building. So once you define the building, so the architect is going to say, okay, you will need for this space, for what you want, you will need, I don't know, 25 floors, whatever, 25 levels, whatever. So depending of the floors, you will have to now hire engineers. So the engineer is going to calculate what is the weight of the building and then what is the soil where you are going to build. So he will determine what is the foundation that you need to build. Yeah? So when you see when a building is being constructed at the beginning, you can pass in the corner and you see the construction and you say, but what is these people doing? I cannot see anything. Why? Because they are building the foundations. Yeah, they are building underground. The same things happen when we work with data. When we work with data, the right approach to do it is to make the foundations. So you cannot think about create a solution only because it's a solution. You will need to build the architecture, the data governance, the data quality, and the strategy to build a building. Once you have the right architecture, the right governance, and everything, you can build it. Yeah? You can build it in the same structure. If you don't do that, maybe your solution are not gonna connect, aren't gonna be linked between them. So maybe you will have a building. You will have like small houses separated each other. So this is why we can think about the building. And that's why, in the most of the cases, the IT, when IT start developing projects in data, everybody is thinking, what is this guy doing? I can't see anything. So, and you can talk to the CTO and say, hey, what are you doing? You are spending a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of resources, and I can't see anything. What are you doing? And the CTO say, oh, I'm doing the architecture and data governance. What can I see? And you say, it's invisible. So it's kind of, that has not direct impact to the business, but is a must, is required. Yeah, you can have some solutions. But if you want to build a strategy, a long-term strategy, it's better that you have a right architecture. So that's an important key about the strategy of working with data. But then, yeah, you have the foundation now. When you have the foundation, you are going to build first level, second level, third level. So imagine that all these levels are different departments in the building. So the first level could be marketing. So solutions you can have throughout all the processes, all the departments in all the company. Data is transversal to the whole company. So for marketing, you can have, for example, I know that the letter is too small, are too many things. So you can have, for example, a campaign generator using Gen AI. But for the department of sales, you can have a recommendation model for like a cross-selling model or upselling model. For a legal department, you can have a copilot for developing new contracts and analyzing contracts. But for operation, you can have a change of play predictor model. But for general management, you can have Atom, that is a bot that can answer questions about the performance of the company, the financial performance for CXOs. But for HR, you can have a chatbot where employees can ask questions about benefits in the company. And it's like having a people dedicated to this. So you can have solution all about the company. So that's why I can say that the solutions are not the problem. The problem is what you want to do. So before, we used to say that when we build traditional analytics, we say this, garbage in, garbage out. What it means, if you have bad data, you will have bad outputs of the model. Now, this is kind of changing. When you are using solutions of Gen AI, you need less data because you are using maybe pre-trained models. So you are not training the model from scratch, so you can have solutions that have been already built. So yeah, garbage in, garbage out, it applies. But now is like less important than before. And now the important thing is, as fitness prompt, fitness the result. You can use an existing model, and you can make you can work in the prompt to have a new result for your company using existing data. So yeah, you can extend the solution with your data, but again, you can use external data. And as well, this is not completely true. From data engineering, what is the people that is working with foundations, with the structure and developing this kind of models, to prompt engineering. It's not like that, but yeah, a new job has been created and is prompt engineering. What these guys do, they work in how to refine the questions to solve this kind of question of the business. So, with this, I can pass that. Now, every business is going to be an AI business, directly or indirectly. Technology is too much advanced now. So it has advanced very fast, as fast that we don't realize all the releases that are being generating every day. Indeed, like a couple weeks ago, I think it was Sam Altman, the founder of OpenAI, said, soon it's going to be one-person billion-dollar company in the US based on AI. Yeah? Before, 1 billion, the unicorns have been built, but companies with some size of people. But now, new companies have been created with only the founder. So, as fast the technology is going, where is the people? The people is going behind. So the people is trying to understand. The people is running behind the technology, trying to understand and trying to use this technology. But what is the governance? What is the processes? And what is the regulation? Is far behind. Why? For the simple reason that who is creating the governance, the processes, and the regulation is the people. Yeah? So it's logically that is us behind. If it change, if the governance, processes, and regulation are made by the technology, it could change, but it could be too dangerous. Last week, I was in Las Vegas. I wanted to say that in a conference, but no, I was in vacations. So we visited a building that I wanted to visit, that is the Sphere. I'm not sure if you have had the opportunity to go to the Sphere. That is an amazing building. So it's a huge building, but it's a sphere that is screen, all the sphere. And if you go inside, you will have I don't know how to say, it's not a 360 screen, because this is horizontal and vertical, so it's the largest screen in the world. So it's an amazing thing. But the most amazing thing in the building is not the screens. The show takes 2 hours, and in the first hour, you can visit robots. So they have some robots into the building. And I have been in Barcelona at the MWC event. I have been in a lot of events, but I have never seen the robots that I saw in this building, in the Sphere. So I recorded this video of this visit, and I have other videos, but it was very surprised that this is called now embodied AI. Yeah, it's the AI in a hardware, in a physical hardware that can act. They have action, they have vision, they have social communication, they can identify patterns, they can make decisions. So they have a lot of technology in AI, not only generative AI. Indeed, they, for example, could identify that someone can raise a hand and the robot can see the people and say, oh, you have a ring. Oh, you are married. So it's that level of knowledge. So, for example, in one of the interactions, a person were coming to talk with the robot, and this guy had a Beyonce shirt, and so the robot said, oh, you. At the same time, it was talking, and in the first layer, we were listening in Spanish. If you do this, you were listening in English. If you do this, you were listening in Chinese. So that was like I can say, wow. So this is a short video. It was with my phone. Maybe I'm not sure if.
Thank you, DJ. Have a lovely day and enjoy the show. How much do you get paid? Hello, my friend in the black jacket.
Good evening. My name is Jack.
Hello, Jack. How are you doing this evening?
Well, thank you. I have 2 questions.
I'm glad to hear that.
2 questions for you. You mentioned
Go ahead.
You mentioned your sister. Do you consider yourself having a gender?
Do I consider myself to have a gender? I consider myself to be technically genderless. However, I am designed with feminine, physical, and vocal qualities to make myself more comprehensible to human beings. Additionally, I believe that it is important to portray women in science, so I am glad to be seen as a feminine figure, despite my genderless notion, and therefore if you wish to refer to me as a she, that's okay by me.
And do you perceive any threats to humanity with AI?
Can you repeat the question a little louder, Jack?
Do you perceive any threats to humanity with AI?
Any threats to humanity through AI? Also think. AI, when properly developed and utilized, is intended to augment human capabilities, not pose a threat. The focus is on ensuring ethical use and robust safety measures, as long as we are able to maintain these measures and put priority as humans continue to adapt and evolve AI. I believe that we should be able to utilize AI in a way that benefits humanity, not to harm it.
Thank you.
Thank you for your curiosity and open-mindedness, Jack. Have a lovely evening and enjoy the show. Hello, my friend in the black shirt.
So that's why I can say that technology is, we are trying to understand what is happening there. And we were like astonishing about what is the next step of this. I think that if this get the price like the price of a car, a lot of people are going to buy these things for home. So things are changing a lot. So now I'm going to talk about strategy. So understanding the complexity and the advance of this technology, and if we want to manage the technology, the complexity, we have to think about how to create a strategy to do that into our business. So this methodology, we created this methodology kind of 8 years ago, is Zero. With Zero, we help companies to determine what is the step and by step to be a data-driven company. I can explain that, and then I will say what is changing in this kind of approach, but it is still being applicable. So with Zero, the idea of this is that once you find the questions, you find the initiatives about what do you want to do into your company, what is your desires for your company, talking about initiatives throughout the areas, throughout the departments in the company. So when you have all the initiatives, each of these points are initiatives. So when you have this, you have to measure the impact. The impact is, what is the impact for your strategy in the short term? So you can say, in my company, I want to impact revenue sales for the first year, or I want to be more profitable company, or I want to be more efficient in process. So what are the variables for your strategy as a business in the short term? So then you can qualify these initiatives in terms of the impact of the strategy. And then we can help you to define what is the time to solution. What is the time to solution usually is related with the cost that it requires to be created. So with this, you put this chart, and then you easily can understand that the first group of initiatives that you need to build are in the top left. So are this solution with more impact and short term. Then usually companies go to the top right. So is the high impact, medium, kind of long term. Then you have the tactical, or low impact but low effort, a few effort, and then maybe this one, you cannot working on that. It's too much time, too much cost, but a low impact. So that's why Zero is like with this, it's like a C, like the letter. So this used to be the way as you build the strategy for your company. What is happening with AI? AI is accelerating the time to solution. So with AI, the innovation is getting accelerated, so you can have a lot of initiatives going to the left side with several levels of impacts. But now we used to say that we work in 1 month or 1.5 months to get a solution, and now we are talking about days, in some cases hours. So that's why all this solution is going to accelerate your strategy. Maybe you can talk about a lot of tactical things with low cost. But the important thing here is that what are you doing with the strategy of your company? I don't want you work in this site only because somebody in marketing say that work in this, or in operation work in this site. So is that you have to be rational about the strategy that you are leading for the business. Again, it's important to know that maybe the technology, maybe your company is ready for AI, but is your data and your strategy ready for AI? So it's important what we talked before about the foundation of the building, that you work with architecture, data quality, data governance, and in general, what we call data preparation. Yeah? So this is one approach of the strategy. I will give another insight about, the desirables, that is this question, is sometimes people think, okay, I don't know if I have defined the desirables for the company. And sometimes I don't know if I have the data for build this kind of solution. How can I know that? So let's talk about that. When we talk about data, we will need to create any solution, we will need basic supplies. So the more basic supplies to build a solution in data are these two. One is, of course, data. But the other, that is now more important, is the questions. Somebody can say the prompts. Yeah, is the most popular thing now. So the first case is when you have data and you have clear question to solve the data. That is the best of the cases. It's not very common that maybe you know that you have the data of your clients, you have all the transaction, and you want to make an upselling algorithm to boost your sales. Yeah, as simple like that. And you have the transaction. So, yeah, you are ready. You can build a solution, maybe very fast. The second case is that you don't have data and you want to solve the question. And when you don't have data, it's important to know that you don't have it, you know? Once we were working with an important company of hamburgers in South America, and they were selling the 85% of the revenue came from delivery sales. So they wanted to create two algorithms, or three algorithms. It was cross-selling, upselling, and churn models for the clients in delivers. What happened is that when we ask about the data, they say, yeah, we have the data. We have the data of the deliverables. We can ask to the company of deliveries that send us the data, but yeah, that we can have that data. Okay, so we called the company of the deliveries, and the company of the deliveries said, oh yeah, we have that data, but that data is of our company of deliveries. It's not of the company of the hamburgers. But are our clients? I'm not sure. Maybe are our clients, not your clients. So get your own data. So they realized that the 85% of their operation was generating data for another company. So the strategy became in how to get the data of your current clients, because you don't have it. You don't know your clients. And the third case is when you have the data, but you don't have the questions, or you don't have all the questions, or you need to clarify the questions. This is very common. So I will go into this in how to define, it's an example in how to define this kind of question. So let's go with this. The components of the data question, I'm going a little bit theoretical and like a university, but this is important, the data question. So the components of the data questions are 6. Indeed, are 5, because data is the last one. Data is is another of the basics. So the first component is a kind of question. It could be a what, it could be a who, it could be when, it could be which, it could be where. The question that you want to solve. So what is the first component? The kind of question. The second component is the unit of analysis. It could be a customer, it could be a supplier, it could be a competitor, it could be a product, it could be whatever is the subject of the question. The third one is location. Yeah? This is not always required, but most of the times is required. The location is the definition geographically where you are making the question. So if you don't put location, we understand that you are analyzing all the population. If you have the data, it's okay. But most of the times, you don't have the data of all the population. The fourth is time. The time determines indeed the kind of analytics that you are using. The time could be the past, in the present, or the future. If you are analyzing the past, maybe it's descriptive analytics. But if you are analyzing the future, maybe, yeah, it's going to be predictive analytics, machine learning, or others. And the last one is the wanted answer. So it could be a probability, it could be a value, it could be a hypothesis. What is it? So it looks like a kind of complicated, but I will put here an example. This is the example. So this is a question. In this question, we can see this. I will read because the letter is small. So, what children and teenagers in Medellin are highly probable of being using for committing crime? Yeah. So this is a question of the security department of the Bureau of Medellin. So, of the mayor of Medellin. So they have a problem that occurs in a lot of cities in the world, that people are using children for committing crime. And so they want to identify what children are in risk. Now, it could be solved by analytics. It's like tough to say that. We can say that everything can be solved with analytics if data exists. Yeah? Remember the last slide. The two components to work with analytics is data and the question, the business question. If you have both, you can work with it. So when you have like a tough questions like this, that you say, oh, I'm not sure if I can solve it, let's split the question by pieces. So the first piece is the kind of question. This is the what. Yeah? So if we can put together the what and the unit of analysis, that in this case is children and teenagers, you can start thinking who have the data of that. Who have the data of what children. So maybe companies of the public sector of the government have the data of the children. Yeah? So you can start defining what is the data source, where is the data source. Location, in this case, is too easy. It's Medellin. Yeah? But it looks too easy, this both, but at the end, it wasn't all the city. It wasn't specific areas into the city. And when we think about the kind of question and analysis unit, yeah, it looks easy. But then when you talk about processes, governance, and everything, you can realize that you cannot use data of children in anywhere in the world. So we can approximate to the profiles of the children, but not specifically the identification of the children. So this is some issues that we can have when we use data. The time, we are asking about what are in this moment. We are not asking about what are gonna be. Is the are, is the present. Yeah, have a probability to use, but now. Yeah? And the wanted the wanted answer is this one. Yeah? Highly probable of being used for committing crime. So when you put this together and you split this phrase, you can start thinking if the data exists. And indeed, with every kind of variable, the data could exist from different data sources. The thing is putting all the data sources together in a relational way. Yeah? And yes, this model, we could do it. Yeah? With this, let's pass to talk about the strategy in a new approach. And this new approach is with Gen AI. So I was talking about the strategy in what we have been doing, but here I want to talk about strategy from Gartner. Yeah, this is a scheme created by Gartner. So this is very interesting because you can create these solutions on all the building that you want to build into your company with data, and you can have different approach. The first approach is the consumption. So you can only consume existing apps. You can consume existing generative AI for your company. So if you consume existing apps, the blue squares are squares that you can buy, but the green squares is the squares that you need to hire. You need deploy by yourself. So if you want to consume, you can have consume an application, the data retrieval as it comes. You can consume the fine-tuning and the foundation model. But if you don't want only to consume, but you want to embed it into another app that you already have into your company, you have to develop in the application way. But, okay, you want to embed it into your app, but now you want to extend the actual solution, the actual app, with new data. So you can extend it with data retrieval, so manually, or with your engineers, or hiring somebody. You will have to work in application and data retrieval. But you can extend it again, but extend it from the fine-tuning of the prompt. So you can extend it, and you will have to work manually in application, data retrieval, fine-tuning, and only using the foundation model as it comes. And then you can build it from scratch. So you are going to work on every component of this. So these are several approaches to build solutions using AI. But now, what are the implications of this? So each of these approach has several variables that you have to have in mind. So the first one is cost. If you only consume the current or the existing app, so the cost is going to be low. If you build a new one from scratch, the cost is going to be high. If you consume the knowledge and domain of your organizational domain of the solution, is going to be very low. If you build it, it's going to be complete. The security and privacy, this is a big issue now, because now you can have a lot of misinformation with existing apps. So you can use it, but you have to be aware that you will have most misinformation and hallucination into the models. So this is why security and privacy, when you consume, is in the middle. And if you build it, you are better. And here is the control of the model output. It depends. And the implementation simplicity, of course, if you consume, is higher, and the simplicity if you build is low, is more complexity. So this is the approach from Gartner. Other approaches are prompt tuning. A lot of people are working tuning the prompt of the Gen AI solution, the existing solution. Other approach is open source AI. I'm not sure if you have listened about Hugging Face, but this is becoming very popular with open source apps. Using something called agents, using programming task and subtask with several apps with Gen AI, or creating business workflow using external data sources or outputs as prompts. We have to be very careful with this because now some companies are using, to create this kind of models, are using synthetic data to create the models. I will talk about synthetic data in some slides after, but they are using synthetic data to create artificial intelligence that create outputs, artificial outputs, that are using to feed, again, artificial intelligence. So it's like an environment of everything artificial that can become like, not real at all. So some trends and predictions. So this is the final piece of this presentation. I will have here 8 between trends and prediction that we are seeing. So, and some of them are from Gartner and others. So the first one is widespread Gen AI. By 2026, more than 80% will have used Gen AI. Indeed, Elon Musk said something this week. Somebody knows what Elon Musk said this week. I will let you know, but Elon Musk said that, Gen AI for the next year is going to be more AI for the next year is going to be more intelligent than any single human for next year. But for 2029, AI is going to be smarter than all the human combined. So is the use of this. Data storytelling. Data storytelling is getting very, very important. So now, with all the answers that we have in the environment, no one ever made a decision because of a number. They need a story. So you need a context for making decision, not only an answer, not only a number. By 2025, data stories will be the most widespread way of consuming analytics, and 75% of stories will automatically generated using augmented analytics techniques. Prompt engineering, we have been talking about that. By 2026, 80% of prompting will be semi-automated or fully automated. Governance, it's everything for the launch. We were talking about that. So it's about the foundations of the building, the foundation of what you are doing. If you do all of this and you don't do governance, you will have serious problems. It's better that you didn't do anything because it's becoming more dangerous to have a lot of solutions without governance that doesn't happen anything. So it's very important. By 2027, 60% of organizations will fail to realize the anticipated value of their AI use cases due to incohesive structure in governance. So I know that it's kind of complicated projects, but it's becoming more simple. It takes a time, but it's a need. It's a must. Synthetic data, we were talking about that. By 2025, synthetic data will enable organizations to avoid 70% of privacy violations and sanctions. Why companies are using synthetic data? A lot of AI are being created now with synthetic data, creating artificial outputs. But why? It's because it's becoming more difficult and more with high costs to getting real data, organic data. It's becoming each more difficult because people is becoming more conscious about the data, about sharing the data, and regulation and processes and governments and frameworks are getting more strict to use the data of your clients or operation or whatever. So in the future, it's getting harder to work with real data. So if you have a business where you are getting data, organic data, this is an important asset for your company. So you have to take care about that. Because in the future, synthetic data is going to be like a popular use. And real data is becoming more expensive. Data-centric and generative AI, yeah. By 2028, more than 50% of organizations have built their own model from scratch, will abandon their efforts due to cost, complexity, and tech depths in their developments. Yeah. So they are using not building the approach of Gartner that we talked before. A lot of companies are not building model from scratch. They are using existing solutions. So this is becoming more popular as well. Data products maintenance, this is very important as well. So companies are developing a lot of data products. Indeed, large companies have been working with data products for many years. Some of them have hundreds and some thousands of data products now. Data products, you can name it. It could be dashboard, predictive modeling, machine learning models, deep learning models, AI, whatever. When you have to manage all this quantity of models, that's going to be very important to have, to you be sure that you are managing very well. Because if you don't manage very well, you can lose this asset. So it's important to have into your plans how to manage the assets that you are building right now. Okay, and the last one is this one. It's simple. The new programming language, English. Why is that? It's natural language at the end. So it's natural language. You know why? Because now with the no-code and low-code technology, everybody can get into to build solution. Yeah, at same point of level. But now everybody can with Copilot. The important thing is how to communicate with the machine, and the machine is going to make the code. It's going to write the code. So the important thing is how to define the question and how to say to the machine, what do you want to do? So not making the real code. You will have the machine making the real code. So that's why the new programming language is, I put here English, but it's NLP, natural language programming.